You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It is your most authoritative news analysis show. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. And the show is brought to you by Bank of Africa, strong as a group, and close as a partner. MTN, welcome to the new world. ACAP Compost Fertilizer. That is truly natural fertilizer. Breeze ERP. That is an innovative product of WebSoft Solutions, and Coral Paint. Paint your dream into reality. Paint your dream into reality. And we will now move on to the President's address at the May Day celebration. He had a number of things to say, and I have actually asked the question whether he said anything new to those who seem to be attacking him, whether he said anything new. The president spoke to the effect that workers are turning workplaces into church in the morning, and then they gossip, they watch TV, they visit, and then in the afternoon, that's what they do in the afternoon, and then after that, they turn to clock watchers, so impatient to check out and leave even urgent work behind. Well, such things can only happen in public offices, because if you are in a private organization, like some of us, you just don't have the luxury to do anything like that. You may even have to sleep over in your office. But it is also true that there are public servants who sleep over in their offices just to do work and are working really hard. I think he acknowledged that as well. But those who are angry about that, why are they that angry? And the issue of the ghost names and how much it has saved the country. NAGRAT is worried, and some other workers are worried, that living human beings have been sent to the cemetery by the president and his team, by what they have done of declaring 26,000 ghosts. Some messages first. Gorazo says, it cannot be true that the past government had no help from the public or media in the fight against Galamsey. AngloGold's communications director died fighting against Galamsey. Sefakai, etc. have all been campaigning against Galamsey for a while now, but we never really saw the ex-president show leadership in helping to fight Galamsey. Ibrahim Kopa in Tamale says, it is pretty obvious that the government is making success in the fight against the Galamsey menace. Just within the first 100 days in office, it has succeeded in seizing over 500 excavators from the illegal mining sites. This is a positive news. However, the government should try to establish a satisfactory modus vivendi between the government and the illegal mining communities in order not to incur the wrath of communities in elections. Elections have come up. Oliver Bamba in Saliga says, it is factually untrue for Honorable Fuseni to allude that the mad rush for NDC flag bearership race is a result of policy deficit in the MPP government. It is abundantly clear that the assertion has no basis, but has everything to do with the excruciating defeat the NDC suffered in the last elections. My solemn pledge to the president, to the presidential hopefuls, to join forces in curing the lame horse. Musa Abatar in Kumasi says, it's premature for anybody to start lobbying for flag bearership, as Honorable Inusa Fuseni alluded to, and Dr. Jampo emphasized on political suicide, which I agree. Notwithstanding, those who are seriously lobbying and creating confusion should stop, because anybody who will contest JM is embarking on a Titanic mission. Funka and Funka Games, that's what you want to mean. It's enough for them to advise themselves. Kwame in the UK says, Honorable Inusa says, these campaigns by some of the NDC members are deliberate. Well, even before the elections, known members of the party expressed their discomfort with the manner Mahama was steering the affairs of the state. So I'm not sure anyone should be surprised to see people rise up to challenge Mahama's return. Also, if the NDC was that open to all they did, they stop. Did they stop George Boateng from contesting? Why did they stop George Boateng from contesting President Mahama some 4 years ago? Thank you for those messages. And okay, so let's now go to talk about the issues of ghost names that have been taking off the payroll, and that is saving us quite a lot of money, as the president has indicated to us, and the worries that have come as a result of the ghost names that have been discovered. I'll start with you, Honorable Fuseni. Oh, this is such a ritual. All the time we are told ghost names being removed, ghost names being removed. It looks like we'll never finish removing the ghost names.
We will never, but we will have to try to minimize and mitigate the presence of ghost names on our payrolls because of the time lapse between the input from the districts to the because payment is centralized. You see, so if you are at Bunkurgu and the inputs are fair, it will take 2-3 months for the inputs to come for your name to be deleted. That is if you are abandoned or you are dead, or I mean a person is dead, or I mean goes or changes work, and so that we will have to reduce, and we'll have to get everybody involved. But those names was part of the and that's why I see policy dishonesty in this government, and many have come up. The issue of the gift mix and the payments being part of the data for the gift mix program was started by the NDC. A lot of names were removed, and many teachers, I mean, working with the Ghana Education Service, many teachers had to go to the Ministry of Finance, to verify their names and produce documents to show that clearly they were otherwise entitled to the payments they were receiving. And so I thought, number one, the president should have said, well, we are continuing with the payroll reforms that were started by the NDC under His Excellency John Mahama. But I'm not surprised because in commissioning even the early power plant.
Just a small question. You mean President Mahama is the one who started fighting ghost names?
I'll talk about gift mix. Ghana Integrated Financial Management and Information Systems project, which is about cleaning the payroll and ensuring that we account for any monies that go to pay people in the public sector. Was started by His Excellency.
But Osafo Manfo started talking about ghost names being removed long ago.
Long ago. I was a teacher. I went to do head counts. I'm talking about gift mix. I'm not talking about Osafo Manfo.
So you mean President Mahama started removing ghost names?
Gift mix. I'm talking about gift mix. It's part of the payroll systems that are supposed to check ghost names.
Okay.
And that's what World Bank is supervising us on. I'm saying that we should have said that, yes, that is what is. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, that you are even contesting it. Because Elibet was commissioned without even acknowledging that President Mahama did any work at all on the Elibet power project. So I'm not surprised. And so many planting for food program. So I'm not surprised. You can claim all the projects that were started by John Mahama. But there is something fundamental wrong. Why do we say ghost names? We say ghost names because the payroll, public payroll, is bloated. Not so. That's why we say ghost names. We are paying people for no work done.
Right.
What is the difference between the public payroll system and the 110 ministers appointed? Some of them are going to receive salaries for no work done. the same thing like ghost names.
Come on.
I mean, if people receive salary for no work done, that's ghost names. They're not properly accounting for the payment that we are making to, I mean, for work done. And so, yes, equity. If you go to equity, you must do equity. Clean the number of ministers that you have appointed. Some of them are sitting in the offices. That is why the NAGRAT and CLOSAC and TUC are contesting it. Because they see that in a certain ministry, okay, your hosts are not supposed to partake in debate. But can you mention all the ministers at the Ministry of Education? Can you mention their names? You know all of them? The same thing, if you go to do a head count, you might not know all the people at the institution. So some of them, you might think that they are ghosts. In fact, I saw some of the workers post placards who said that, well, do you think that I'm a ghost? Yes, because some teachers have been affected who otherwise are at their stations. So the president ought to have said, look, we are doing, but I'm not thinking for that. That's my view though. We are doing a lot to clean the public payroll structure, I mean, of illegalities, and especially people who are otherwise.
This is a process.
It's a process
by which the government says
it's not an
we have by that so far saved 433 million. If some mistakes have occurred as a result of this process, why do you harp on the mistake?
Why do you go and announce something you are not so sure of? Why do you go and announce that when NAGRAT says that 33,900 of our members are part of the 26,000? Does it reduce the amount that you have mentioned, the 433 million you have mentioned? If for 13,000, salaries of 13,900 are taken, will we still get 400 million Ghana cedis? That's you are not in okay, the president said he was in a hurry, but sometimes you don't have to be in a hurry, you have to hasten slowly. In mentioning sections and talk about general policy initiatives that you have started, which clearly will inure to the benefit of the generality of Ghanaians. But to give specifics, which specifics are being now contested, and to call Ghanaian workers lazy. Some Ghanaian workers are lazy. Yes, but call Ghanaian workers lazy and giving the charge to TUC boss. Governance in this country, Article 58, you know that. Executive authority is vested in who? In the president. And I think Article 296 or so, which talks the definition column of the Constitution, defines executive power, which is the power with which the executive arm of government exercises. So when you read Article 58 and 296 together, you will come to one conclusion. Government is the president. And you give the charge to TUC boss to lead. You have to put in structures, reform the public service. That's why we voted you into office in the first place. To put in structures to ensure that laziness to work, the attitudinal change, you engender an attitudinal change in the public service. After all, you are also a public servant. You draw your salary on the consolidated fund. You must give us leadership. Nana Kumia said the political leadership. People must see you at work at 9 o'clock. People must see you pay surprise visits to the public officers and demonstrate to them that you want attitudinal change, but not complain and lament. We are not voted the president into office to always lament and complain. We voted the president into office to take action. So, yes, that's why CLOSAC said that they are not lazy. Clearly, they are not lazy. And
okay, so you hold on. We'll continue with that discussion, but let me go to the phone lines, speak to a senior of mine and a very good friend, Kwame Wating. He is a lawyer for the Ochehene and has some reaction to some of the references that have been made as far as the Ochehene's palace is concerned. Good morning, thank you, Senior, and welcome to Newsfile.
Thank you, Something.
Yes.
And good morning to your panelists and Good morning to your listeners and viewers. Yes, I tuned into your program and I heard his name being mentioned as having been cited in the report by the DNI, and then subsequently it came out to say that it's rather the palace that was mentioned, and then later you said there was a task force that was formed by him and which has also been implicated in this report. Now, first and foremost, I was a bit surprised when I got to know that this is an intelligence report, but which was based on perception. If I heard you right, certain aspects of the report did mention specific names, connecting them to what has been done with regard to this Galamsey thing. Something, the long and short of it is that I don't think it's been fair to my client, because if you are dealing with perception and it has to be an intelligence report, then we should have been a bit careful in putting out names out there, especially since this is a report which is just speculative. Now, we all know the effort that Gov't has put in fighting this social and economic and whatever cancer called Galamsey. If you roll back time, you get to any IGP or army commander or any person of authority who has anything to do with this Galamsey.
And you recognize, I acknowledge his singular role in that regard.
Precisely. He actually started this whole fight against Galamsey, and the nation later came on and is helping in this regard. Now, I don't know what is happening, but there may be a group out there who definitely want this perception about he being involved in Galamsey to stick. But it's not sticking, because it will be extremely preposterous for a person of his caliber who has used every energy in him to fight this cancer just to go around it and still undermine the process that will stop this cancer. And is something. I want you at any point in time, if there's any issue of this nature that connects Gov't or his parents or whatever, to get our side of the story as well before we put it out there. Because, it's a mind game. You put it out there, it lingers in other people's minds, and since it's not answered definitively, is he doing it or not doing it? And it's all coming down to defend him one way or the other. That is my little introduction.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I think that it's only fair, your commentary and reaction is only fair. The report, as we referred to, said that the palace is perceived, and Kwekubako rightly pointed out that that is problematic, that it is perceived, the palace is perceived to be behind illegal mining activities in the Kibi area, and then went ahead to say that the task force that the Ochehene has constituted as part of his environmental foundation were alleged to be extorting monies from illegal miners in the area. And the reference was made particularly to the Birim River, which is now under serious threat, and so on. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame Boateng, who is lawyer for the Ochehene. Now, I wanted you to take a breather, move on to someone else. So because we are on the same issue, but if you can add the other issue of the president's question and concern about attitudes rather than staying on the ghost names matter.
Well, I think I've said that. I think that the president must lead the attitudinal change.
Do you think he's leading it?
Well, I see him lamenting and complaining. I don't see him leading it.
He doesn't get late to programs. He has instructions to his ministers and officials that if you get to a program, you must get there on time. And we are aware of his officials getting to programs where the organizers are late and they abandon the program and go, to ensure that this timeliness is, time consciousness is instilled.
Well, I'm also aware that sometimes he gets to the Flagstaff House very late.
You'll be monitoring.
Yes, we monitor. Well,
And you were sure
I'm
he
a
was not
stakeholder in the democratic
but
experiment of this country.
You were sure he was not doing some official business outside the Flagstaff
Well,
House?
I said I'm aware that sometimes he gets to the Flagstaff House late.
Yeah, but you should answer that question.
I'm
Can
not
the president
aware.
not work from any place other than the Flagstaff House?
Well, when he chooses to go to the Flagstaff House, I expect that he gets there early.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Nana Kumiabe, why did we get it so wrong about the ghost names that we have included living people in as ghosts? That is so unfair. We're killing them.
It's very clear that my brother here is providing a lot of comic relief, and, and I'm happy about it. You know, there he goes. He said there's policy dishonesty, and he doesn't tell us what the dishonesty is. Look,
Commissioner early power plant would have given credit to the person who initiated it. His policy is honest.
no, sit down. There's a live program. Where are you going?
Oh,
Please sit.
okay.
Please sit.
Oh, but what's wrong with him?
No, go ahead. Make your point.
I was going to walk away. From the dishonesty of not accepting the dishonesty.
You see, when your mind is fixed on something that is non-existent, this is what you sleepwalk, and that's what he was trying to do on your live show. But you see,
He's a great debater. He won't run away from a debate.
but he was running, and I had to stop him.
No.
I had to stop him.
Because I
Right
didn't like
here.
the dishonesty of not accepting the dishonesty.
You know, NDC, they told the world and their supporters that they were in a comfortable lead.
Cruising to victory.
Cruising to at the end, yeah. That's the height of dishonesty.
Oh.
They
The height of dishonesty is when
please
St.
allow
John's
him.
announced that you had won.
Allow him.
That's the height of dishonesty.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Listen, you are not the only person who has a voice.
I have a live one.
Yes,
because
but
that's
can
my
you,
two.
Sorry.
yeah, can you understand
Sorry.
that? You understand you're not the only person with a voice.
Yes, I know.
Yes, so you must let other people speak. You understand that
But
too?
my voice is loud.
So can you proceed on your point? Yeah.
So my point is, NDC, they should be the last people who will talk about dishonesty. I can give you a list from the President Mahama and everybody, the dishonest behavior they've shown to. In fact, that's why you lost by the largest margin we have ever seen in the Fourth Republic. Because of your dishonesty, because of your policy inconsistency and the failure to deliver. That's why you lost by the largest margin anybody has seen in Africa of an incumbent government. So don't go there at all. We are talking about ghost names. This is the first time government is making efforts to clean the payroll. Since I started to read, I always read about governments making efforts because people find new ways to bloat the public payroll, and governments find new ways to clean it up. It's an ongoing struggle. And Inusa himself mentioned that it may never stop because people will try and infiltrate the system. And so you have to keep reviewing the system, bringing in new methods and technology to clean it up. It's going to continue. Rawlings announced cleaning of the register and ghost names. Kufuor did same. Mills did same. Mahama did same. Akufo-Addo will do same. The next president will do same because you have to keep looking at it and cleaning it. And then you're coming to tell us that it's Mahama who started it. Started cleaning ghost names on the payroll.
You should quote him correctly.
What did he say?
The gift mix program.
What is that? Did
don't know that.
Akufo-Addo talk about gift mix? Or you talk about cleaning the payroll, that they've removed ghost names and saved some money? Isn't that what he said? And if you're coming to sit here and then talk about you should give credit, what credit have you done that has not been acknowledged? What credit? NDC, what credit have you given?
Payroll system as the database of gift mix to remove ghost names.
And so why are we still doing removal of ghost names?
Maybe when somebody comes with
Why are we still doing removal of ghost names? Now I'm also happy about the acknowledgement that the whole thing comes to the president and executive leadership. That is where all the problems should be situated. The buck stops with the president. We're talking about Galamsey. He said that he was making efforts and he deported so many people. Why did it not last? Because there was no executive commitment at the highest level during the NDC government. That's why, because when you left, there was a replacement. Why didn't it continue? That is policy inconsistency. That is lack of commitment at the highest level.
But you should
That's why we are
acknowledge the
facing
progress
this.
he made.
Where did it lead? To zero, because there was no policy consistency. There was policy consistency directed by the president. When he left,
He arrested over 500 or so,
5,000.
5,000 or so Chinese and deported them, with the exception of Aisha and the other.
And it's clear that when he
The most dangerous ones.
it's clear that when he left, those people came back because there was no policy consistency. So they came back. And it rests on the decks of the president. That's the kind of failure that you did, that you were thrown out. Now you talk about ministers, one thing, say that ministers are not working. Listen, if at the end of the day, this government is able to stop galamsey, people will not worry about 110 ministers. Okay?
Hey.
People will not worry about 110 ministers. They will look at what has been achieved and the benefit to them. If you had 90 ministers and you couldn't stop galamsey, and you have 110 you stop galamsey, which is more beneficial to this country? Now, this business about the public sector things. Yes, there's always this ongoing tension between salary and wages and productivity. So the worker...
But before that, what are you going to do about the complaints coming up from CLOGSAG, NAGRAT, saying that some of their people you have included are not dead, as
Something,
you
but
claim?
any time there's an exercise to clean the payroll, there are always people who they are cutting. It's not a perfect exercise. There are always people who have been removed and who should not have been removed. In the case of the teachers, there was a performance required that you should go and do biometric at SNIT. If you don't go and do it by that time, they will classify you as non-existent. If you manage to go and do it, the records will be corrected. Okay. But if you clean out these thousands of names, there may be some who may have been cleaned out inadvertently. There will be some who are not ghosts who have been cleaned out. And there will be some who are actually ghosts who have been left in. That's why it's an ongoing exercise. Okay. So, but the effort to clean it is what is key. Right. It shows that government is focused on saving money and achieving efficiency.
So the attitude to work.
The attitude to work, for me, is so crucial to everybody as a Ghanaian. And I said there's always this tension between wages, salaries, and conditions of service of public servants, and indeed any worker. And on the other side is productivity. So one side, let's say the workers, they would always talk about low wages and low motivation. And they may be justified. We all know that public service salaries in this country are quite low. And also because of the mismanagement of the economy. When you have the value of the currency reducing all the time, then even the little that you give to the worker doesn't go anywhere. So workers have a right to complain. On the other hand, employers, in which case the government too is an employer, they would also talk about productivity. They would talk about coming to work early and doing the work that you're supposed to do. So there's always this tension. That tension has to be resolved. We all know the problems. Who doesn't? What is lacking is, again, that single ingredient I spoke about. Political commitment to deal with this issue. Because we've talked about it for decades, how to ensure productivity in the public service and the civil service. And out of that productivity, be able to generate resources to give them a better income. We've talked about it. There has to be measures to deal with it. And I'm happy that my brother was also focused, that the president has the big opportunity to take us to that next level. And what has to be done is not magic. We know what the public service is supposed to do. I'm supposed to get a passport. You charge me 500 cedis. You tell me it will be ready in 1 month. Why is it not ready in 1 month? Why do I have to go and see Inusa Fuseni to tell him, Inusa, please, I need a passport?
Give me your complimentary card.
Or give me your complimentary card. I need a building permit. You say, bring me A, B, C, D documents. and bring 200 cedis. I present the documents and pay 200. Why don't I get my building permit in that 1 month? So we have to put in place a measure that would monitor civil service performance, and where that performance is lacking, there has to be consequences. We've tried it before. In fact, John Mahama himself, when he was communications minister in the 1998 or so, happily launched what they call the public service charter, where they spelled out what has to be done, and if you didn't do it as a public servant, the consequences. Way back, 1999, I was in parliament with him, but there was lack of commitment. And so you want a passport, you do what you have to do, you still need to go and see Goro boys.
Before elevated it to a ministerial level.
Yes.
Public sector reform.
Yes. So it all comes back to the political commitment. Now, if President Akufo-Addo, beyond the lamentation, is able to put in place measures to ensure delivery of service to the Ghanaian, it may not even matter if people come to work 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock. You want the service, you pay the required fees, the service is not delivered, there should be an office that will see to it that the civil servant who's supposed to do some work within a certain time for which he's been paid, that work is done. The citizen is helpless as we speak.
Right.
You want a building permit. In fact, there are so many buildings in Accra without a permit. Right. That's the consequence. Because you know, when you go and try for a permit, it will take you 4 years. You want a passport, the same. You want a birth certificate, the same. You want to build anything. So the delivery is lacking.
So what concretely is going to be done, and what is the assurance that this time round
I'm saying
we'll get rid of
I'm
this?
saying that we know what to do. I've told, that's why I brought in what happened in 1999 when we launched the public service charter by the then communications minister, John Mahama. But it wasn't followed through. We are good at launching stuff, but having the commitment to enforce, that's what we don't do. We're talking about Galamsey. If you see the laws that we have on environmental protection, it runs to about 2 inches. The laws on environment alone, and you know it. But it's not enforced. We are good at passing the laws, but we are not good at enforcement. So if the president or the NPP would be able to go on to create the charter, so I know as a citizen that the charter says, if I want a passport, I have to bring A, B, C, D, and pay these fees. If I'm able to satisfy all of that, and I submit my application, in 30 days I should get it. If I don't get it, there should be somebody who is going to ask questions of some public servant. If we can do that and follow it through and start implementing it, we would then have a positive change. The thing about inertia is that it creates its own multiplier effect. So one person puts up an unauthorized structure. We have building inspectors, you have planning officers, everywhere in this country. One person puts up an unauthorized structure. Nobody checks. So another person will come and add, another person will come and add, and then it becomes a negative cycle. If you check the first person, then it becomes possible, because if you check unauthorized structures in Ablekuma, then somebody in Adabraka will know that, hey, my colleague in Ablekuma was removed because he didn't check an unauthorized structure, so I have to do my work.
Well, we actually wait until a building has collapsed on people.
Yes.
And then even after that, we make all the noise and then we go back, to sleep.
So let me finish. It all comes back to the political leadership. And I'm praying, I have every hope that things are going to be done differently. The Ghanaians are going to feel the change.
Thank you very much.
One of the areas that the change will be felt is in public service delivery.
Thank you very much. You will have no excuse. 110 of them, they should be able to check this. Now, I'm taking a break. When I return, Dr. Jampo will start with us. Practically, how are we able to stop this public service, civil service attitude to work. President Mills had cause to even ban watching televisions in the offices. Why must it get to that point? And why is that so? We are the same human beings who work in private organizations and give our all, utmost. And yet we find ourselves in the public institutions and we are so terrible. Why is that so? We'll be back.
Is it so? Because there's no time.